Hello and welcome to the Astrocast and a happy new year. Although 2021 does seem very much a continuation of 2020. How are we all doing, guys?
Yeah, yeah, we're locked down. Yay!
Uh,
Woohoo!
I'm alive. And that's about it. There we go.
That's a good place to be. I
I
think if
was,
you're alive in 2021, you're doing well.
I was going to say that's a
Um,
higher bar than most other years, but yeah.
so two things we're going to talk about tonight. Firstly, we'll do our kind of hobby roundup, what have people been doing, and then we'll move into the Dead and the Divine preview, which, spoiler alert, I thought was quite good. So, first things first, hobbying. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first. I've done a lot of hobbying, lots and lots of hobbying actually. Basically, before Christmas, Amy and I bought the Shadow and Pain box set, which is the half Daughters of Khaine, half Slaanesh, because she's starting a Slaanesh army. I play Daughters of Khaine, so we got that. It was such good value, we bought another one, so I built all of the second one. I then bought the Start Collecting Daughters of Khaine box, so I've built everything that was in that. And then for unspecified days recently, Amy bought me Marathi. So I now have 2,500 points of Daughters of Khaine that have all been built and painted in the last 3 weeks.
Fuck,
Um,
that's impressive.
I yeah, on
This
top
is
of
what happens when Theff has nothing to do.
yes, somebody give me a job, please. I've also Amy bought me for Christmas a Evangelion Unit 2, the big red unit from the show, and so I built
Asuka's one.
yes, which came with a little rubber Asuka as well, and a little
Yeah.
rubber. Is it KG? The other
Yeah.
guy, I forget his name, but yeah. So I
Wimpy boy.
built that, and it's got a sniper rifle. So I now have 3 Evangelion units for Gamma Wolves as well. When we inevitably get around to playing that. On
Nice.
top of that, I acquired Warcry Catacombs, so I've built all of the terrain from that and the 2 warbands that came from there, and bought a paint rack from eBay, just an MDF laser cut thing, and that's about the extent of my hobbying.
Only a little bit of hobbying then.
Yeah, just a few
Oh,
bits.
only a tiny, tiny bit. Oh
Yeah, I've not
dear.
been that busy really.
Well, clearly not with anything else.
Yeah.
So, Mataspore, have you been up to much?
Oh dear. Hobby-wise, as always, a fair bit of disappointment. Not nothing. I did, thanks to the disaster of my bookshelf collapsing quite a few weeks ago now. It's taken a long time to sort through the mess. I found an old book, The Loathsome Ratmen and All Their Vile Kin. It's very nice. Um, and that sort of, what's the word, inspired me to remember that I had 2 boxes of fucking storm vermin in my cupboard. Um, that I think I've had there for over a year at this point. So, so they've been built now. They're very likely not going to be painted or used anytime soon, but at least they are done. And my excuse for that is, well, I still have to do that annoying thing called work. Um, I don't get excuse from it due to plague reasons. So,
Nice.
oh well, never mind. Go on,
At
Brad. What
least
about you?
you've done something. So I've done not as much as Theff, but more than Mataspore. So I got inspired by the Wib of Sniper Wib's end of year painting video, basically to do hobby streaks. So the idea is how long can you keep hobby progress going? So as long as you do something every day, keep your streak going. And that's been quite good because it means that even if I only base count a single model, it's just kept a motivation to keep going. So I have finished a couple of models. I've been working on 2 bits of fantasy characters that I had lying around. Stuff like an engineer for my Waldorf, my witch hunter, that kind of stuff. A few odd state troops that I had spare. Um, and I've also kind of got weirdly into second edition 40k, particularly the art style. Um, I entirely blame. I was rewatching Codex Compliant, and I had the Ultramarine Captain, which was released late Rogue Trader, um, when they brought in the proper Mark 7 armor. So I thought, I know, I'll paint him up to match my my retro kill team I did here in the summer. And when I kind of got him finished, I really liked him. And I thought, oh, I'll dig through and see what other second edition area appropriate models I've got, so I can give him some mates. And when Theff was having a big clear out, he said, "Do you want my Space Marine, like my box of Space Marine bits?" And naturally, I said yes. And it had a shitload of metal Terminators in it, so they are now getting close to being done. This has now spiraled into a project that is a bit silly in that. Well, I had the idea of I might think about entering Armies on Parade in November, and the idea being, so the concept being, paint it all up as that kind of retro style, but try and include Marines from every edition of 40k. So going from your RTB01 Beakies all the way up to Indomitus Primaris, and I thought that might be quite a cool concept. I mean, they're all going to be wildly different scales. So I'm just going to work out what to include from each edition. Some of them are really simple, like I've managed to get the RTBO1 Medic. Someone was selling one for £3.
Damn.
So I picked that up.
Cool.
I've got plenty of second edition models now because I've just kind of gone, oh well, I may as well have a full force of second edition. Third, fourth, fifth, it all kind of blurs into one for me. So it's trying to remember what was separate for all, especially tactical squads, because the tactical squad was re-released for third edition, and then did change, I think, fourth, fifth. I can't remember where, but it wasn't a massive change. I think they literally changed, like rearranged where stuff was on the sprue.
Yeah.
It gave you a melter gun and a plasma gun as well, the command screw, and then there was the big redone, I think in probably 2015, maybe earlier than that. So I just need to work out, so there's been a lot of trawling through old White Dwarfs, because obviously they don't tell you when stuff was released. That needs to be on the Lexicanum entry.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been my project. That's kind of spiraled just into a kind of general kind of like interest in second and third edition stuff, and I might be putting my 3D printer to use some point in the near future to print not airships, but trying to find a good file for the Armorcast Warhound. So that is the really weird looking one that's actually got a dog head, because why not print a Titan?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't print one of the modern 4-year-old ones, because that just feels
Oh no.
that is just cop stealing in my mind almost. But they've been out of production for 20 years. So that's what I've been doing. So my hobby streak, I believe, is up to 22 at the moment. So I've done 22 days of continuous hobbying. So I'll see how long that goes. I mean, lockdown does help, because there's not like we can go anywhere. So it's quite easy to go, oh, just base coat that. So other models I've worked on is, when I was going through my bits box, I sorted that out, I've realised I've got loads of random Space Marine and Chaos Space Marine and Space Wolf parts. So I might be putting together an original 13th Company kill team.
Nice.
Because they were just cool. I might have to get a Wolfen model, but that might be a while, because the metal ones go for a little bit too much
Yes.
on eBay.
I remember that codex. It was good.
Yeah, Codex Eye of Terror. Yeah, that was a really cool little codex. And then I've also painted up a single Praetorian, because I found a sprue of metal pith helmets, and I've always wanted to do a Praetorian army, but they also suffer from the cost far too much on eBay to field a guard army of. So simple head swap. It's just a colour test, and I've only got 3 more heads, so I might kind of do them as like, I've got my infantryman, an artilleryman, a cavalryman, and a rifleman.
Yeah.
Just kind of got all the different colours of my army sorted, and then they'll go back to the back of the hobby pile. But yeah, that's what I've been doing hobby wise. So yeah, decent progress. I'll put a link to my Instagram, because that's where I've been tracking my hobby progress on, if you do desperately want to look at luminous blue Terminators, and various other bits and pieces.
And they are luminous.
Yeah. They probably are actually brighter than they were in the 90s. But I think it works. But I wholly following the 90s.
As long as they're not quite at the point where if you turn off all the lights, there's a slight gleam in the darkness, I think we're okay.
I mean, they need a little bit of light to gleam, but not much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've kind of taken bits and pieces of different. They're going to be basically 90s, but I'm going to pull in schemes from other editions as well. Stuff like the librarians. I'm probably going to paint in a darker blue, just because I quite like the idea of, in the modern color scheme, the librarians are a darker blue. I like my specialists being like clearly, seeable. I know it makes no sense in terms of the military because you're basically going snipe that man in white, but it's toy soldiers.
But it's the flip side of that, though. It's like, look, there's the healer. He's in white. Quickly, healer, come over here.
So yeah, that is my hobbying. So hopefully I'll keep my streak up. I'll be interested to see how long I can keep it rolling. That is the hobby section over, I believe. Then, so shall we go into the Dead and the Divine preview?
Yeah, go on.
Yes.
Nice. So before we have you both seen it?
Yeah, we had a little look through.
Yep.
So what's your kind of Cliff Notes thoughts overall? So not going into specifics, but good, bad, waste of time.
Oh, I like the models. Teclis is wearing his big boy pants, and
Yeah.
Vampires. I like vampires.
Yeah, we'll get to those, but they are particularly very good.
I can honestly say that there isn't a single thing in this preview that I didn't like.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I don't think there's anything. There isn't a bad model. There's stuff that I might not pick up, but it's all stuff that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, same really. There's nothing I disagree with the existence of that way.
Yeah.
There's certainly stuff I don't really care about. That's just because they don't apply to me.
Shall we dive into the corpses and see what we get? First things first, Warhammer 40,000. Theff, would you take the lead on this one?
Yep, very happily. I fucking love this thing. It is Ellen Ripley in the Power Loader as given to Sisters of Battle. And yeah, I've seen a lot of mixed feelings online for it, but Sisters of Battle in Power Loaders. What more do you want?
Yeah, I don't get the negatives on this one.
Yeah, it just makes me happy. A lot of people are saying, oh, where do her legs go? And it's like, well, clearly she steps up onto a thing, the front splits in two, she steps in, her legs sit on little platforms inside the legs in the thing, and she goes stomp.
Yeah, I kind of get it. It's people being... They want to take the piss out of it. It's not the Dread Knight. The Dread Knight is legitimately a bit silly with the baby carrier. This is what the Dread Knight should have been. In my mood, she doesn't look silly. I mean, I do agree with Kirioff in saying, but actually, the thumbnail suit is the better looking suit, especially with the fact that she's got all this extra armor on and she's left her face exposed. But that is just Warhammer 40,000 for you. But yeah, no, I really like it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I will be fielding a bunch of them because I'll let you guys in on a secret. I'm not a huge fan of the penitent engines. I don't like the aesthetic there. I'd much rather have big armoured sisters. And, well, you guys have seen my Deathwing army. This just fits perfectly.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what the stat line is. I'm expecting this to kind of be around a Centurion Warsuit, that kind of thing.
I'd hope it to be fairly shooty, going by the fact there's guns on there.
And rather stabby, seeing as though it has a sword almost as big as itself.
Yeah. I think I'd almost prefer it if both hands had guns, because you're kind of splitting the purpose.
I'd quite like it if there was the option there. Also, just as a quick aside, in the video for it, we see a stained glass window, and we see a certain sword carried by someone wearing a jetpack. There is speculation on the internet that this means that we're getting a jump pack canoness option in the next Sisters release. If we do, a lot of the stuff that Games Workshop has done wrong in the past will be forgiven. Let's put it that way. Because I want to be able to send my canoness on wings of fire into the fray. Because right now, she can't, and it's annoying. But yeah.
it seems like an option that it's a no-brainer. Really, it'd be a very simple. You know, you wouldn't have to invent something from whole cloth. You've already got the jetpack. You've already got plenty of canonesses. Yeah, it seems like a logical thing to
Yeah,
include.
I'm just going to say it was there in third ed, so it should really be there now.
Yes, but there's a lot of things available in third ed, which is just, you know,
Yeah,
I'm going to
true.
get whimsical if we discuss this, especially since I've now got a third ed rulebook has arrived today.
This was a good thing from third ed. But yes,
Yeah.
let's move on before you start waxing lyrical.
Yep. So Kill Team. Now, I am a big fan of Kill Team. I have built many Kill Teams, and I have many more planned. So more stuff for Kill Team. I am happy with. Really cool models. We have seen all of these before, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
They all look good, really.
They've been in other previews, certainly.
I think the only thing that is new is the terrain, and even then, it's basically the equivalent of
Yeah.
Necron barrels and doors, which, you know, cool. Now you don't have to just use Imperial doors, but my only concern with this is how long is it going to be before these models are available separately, and how much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
It is nice that they acknowledge that, you know, beings other than the Imperium build, even if only slightly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could see me picking this up, not because it's part of Kill Team, but because I kind of want the Chronomancer. I want the flayed ones, and I want the Necron terrain, honestly. I like the terrain.
The terrain is good,
And,
don't get me wrong.
yeah.
It's perfectly solid. I do want the heavy intercessors, and I do want the captain. They would be just because I'm a
That's
Marine
fair.
fanboy. I don't do Necron, so I'm not too bothered about the rest of the stuff. But yeah, no, solid overall. No complaints, but also not much to say about it. Hopefully, we'll get more cool stuff for.
It's a
Kill
good
Team this year.
release.
Yeah, it's a solid little release. I've got
Yeah.
no. Oh, and it's got rules for Assault Intercessors and Necron Warriors. Kill Team, which is nice.
Which is good.
So,
yeah.
Adeptus Titanicus. Now,
If I didn't know it would get us in trouble, I'd kind of insist that we start playing the Pacific Rim theme at this point.
entirely fair. So, I really like it. I've not got into Titanicus.
Yeah, it's
My
cool.
brother has quite, heavily, I believe, but I've not got around to it. But that is a fucking awesome Titan.
Oh yeah, I'm not in the Titanicus at all, but that's a big killer death robot, and yeah, I like that.
I really like it. It's very cool. But can I get my Imperator class already? I want the Imperator class Titan back.
Yeah, an Imperator would be quite sweet. I do now have an Imperator to paint at some point.
Nice.
Yeah, mate was doing a clear out, and
Yeah.
he sold it to me at a very reasonable price. It kind of fell into the category of models that I would never
Excellent.
pay the prices they are on eBay, but it was I'll take that off your hands. So I do have an Imperator. Yeah. It is far too small for Titanicus, but yeah, no, that is really, really nice Titan.
Yeah, I like the little scale thing. Grandis, immensus, magnifius, and momentous. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yes.
Very, very imperial.
Like how the smallest one barely comes up to the largest one.
So, here's a question for you. Do you think we'll ever get this from Forge World?
Oh, I could see it happening. Some mad bastard out there has enough money to afford that.
Yeah, because I always remember when we were at school, the only one that Forge World did at the time was the Warhound, and that was, and then everyone said, they'll never do anything bigger. Then they released the Reaver, and everyone said they'd never do anything bigger. And then they released the Warlord. Now, don't get me wrong, unless I win the lottery tonight, I will never own a Warlord. I have seen one in the flesh, though. Games Workshop Cambridge had one in the window, so I have seen Warlord Titan, and it is very fucking cool.
Nice.
But yeah, short of me winning the lottery, I don't think I can justify dropping that much on a model.
Yeah, I just go back to that one Apocalypse game where somebody had magnetized a Reaver, and it fell over and shattered. and the guy just kind of scooped up the bits into a bag and left. And I've never seen a more broken wargamer in my entire life. And that kind of puts me off, like, ever owning one of those huge models. Just because I know me, I know I would drop it.
That's it. It's like you'd have to think of some very, very, you'd have to think of your storage solution for it. And I think it's. I know they probably don't need a base, but I think they probably do want a hard wooden base.
They need a base.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is, it would live in the display cabinet, and it would come out maybe once every couple of years when everyone decides to gang up on it, and then it would go away again. And that would be sad.
Well, I mean, I can't remember how many points they cost in 9th edition, but I know the Warhound is about 2,000 points. Now, they are cheaper in the Heresy setting. Realistically, I mean, I was joking about printing out a Warhound armor cast. Again, you're probably the same. It would be the kind of thing I'd probably bring along to Darksphere, but very much as a kind of, does anyone want to fight a Warhound?
Well, see, back in 3rd edition, someone at Games Workshop Brent Cross bought an Eldar Revenant, I think it was, Titan, and said, come and try me if you think you're hard enough. At which point, myself and another Tau player put down all of our broadsides, hammerheads, and everything else, and shot it to death with railguns in 2 turns. And the guy was not impressed.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, it's the kind of thing you fully expect to happen, because they are, frankly, ridiculous.
Well, the simple fact is, the numbers only go so high. And,
Yeah.
If you've got, like, I know how to deal with big things quite easy, honestly. Requires a sacrifice to the rest of the army, but if you're going to boast about it, then if you put something on the table that is clearly like at least a quarter of your entire points value, then yeah, okay, we'll get rid of that.
I think what stopped me getting into Titanicus was the fact that I'd just backed the Pacific Rim miniatures game Kickstarter at the time, which came with all these beautiful pre-painted miniatures and everything, which I know Mataspore's played with me, and it is a lot of fun. And at some point, when we're all able to meet up again, I will play it with people. But yeah, Titanicus dropped at the exact wrong moment for me.
That is fair. So we're also getting a new book, which is just the rules for 16 Titan Legions and 12 Households of Knights, which is cool. Again, I don't play Titanicus. Would like to play Titanicus, but again, I don't really. There's not much point getting into it at the moment.
It's the kind of thing where if there was a display game at the local that you could take part in, I'd love to give it a go. If such things exist.
So shall we leave the grim darkness of the far future and go to Australia?
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm not sure which is the worst option there, but okay. Right.
So the new Lumineth stuff, I really like the aesthetic of the Lumineth.
I am a big fan of the fox, cow, archer, whirlwind.
Yeah. Yes. I like
particularly
it.
Cool.
I like it a lot. Because it's doing what I asked for in that rant I made so bloody long ago about why Age of Sigmar is better than DK. Because it's, well, look at that thing. It's basically a demon. It's an embodiment of magic, but it's not a demon. It's on the good guy's side. But I've been wanting that to happen forever. It's very, very nice that it has.
My only slight criticism of it, and considering I've just broken a spirit host in the last couple of days, that looks fragile. That looks very, very fragile.
Yeah.
Very, very cool model nonetheless. I can't be too critical of that. It is. Its arrows are on fire.
I kind of want it. I don't even play Lumineth, and I want this just to paint and have in my collection.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it looks like it's attached to the spirals at a lot of points, and the kind of band thing you're holding up, they look fairly thick. So I don't know if it actually be as fragile as you're worried about. I wouldn't recommend hurling it to the floor.
Don't think it'll be Celestine fragile.
No.
Yeah.
It hasn't got two massive wings poking out of it. Start.
Yeah, well, Celestine is two plastic ribbons and wobbles dramatically.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I've seen you play her. I don't get the impression that this thing would wobble. If only because it's supported from the front and the back.
No, I hope not.
Right, so there is also a new book.
Teclis wearing his biggest ball
So
pants.
I'm excited for the new... Well, Broken Realms in general I'm excited for, because the book from Arathi was really good. I remember we had a bit of a conversation about Psychic Awakening way back when, and it was a bit of a damp squib, I think was the...
Yeah, it was overhyped, saying, "Oh, it's going to change the setting."
It didn't really, though, whereas Broken Realms has come in with a sledgehammer, cracked the setting upside the nutsack, and gone, hey, things are different now. Deal with it. And it's good.
So I've heard Marathi has some major lore changes, including one of the cities of Sigmar have now gone dark, haven't they? Or gone... It's now fully Marathi.
Basically, having read it cover to cover the other day, and spoiler warning, jump ahead about 45 seconds to avoid the spoiler. Basically, she walks into Anvilgard as an ally, leads a secret underground coup against the people, and declares it the new city, capital city of the Daughters of Khaine in the Realm of Fire. And basically had the local insurgents take out the Stormcast by poisoning them rather than killing them. So they all got knocked out, so they couldn't go and warn Sigmar by, going to the Anvil of Apotheosis. And so Anvilgard is now under the control of the Daughters of Khaine, which is a big lore change.
Nice. And on the subject of the Daughters of Khaine, they've got a new battle tome.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
they do.
kind of excited for this as, aforementioned Daughters of Khaine player. Basically, what it looks like is it's consolidating all the stuff from Broken Realms Marathi and a bunch of new rules for their units, plus endless spells, which I was always kind of annoyed that the Daughters of Khaine didn't have up till now, and now they do, and they look really cool.
Big fan of the snake.
I do like the snake. I also like the disembodied floating bloody hand. That's fun.
Yeah, no, the snake, I kind of went, oh, that has other uses. That would look good in basically any setting, I think.
Well, it's also kind of like, rip it out, it's a D&D monster, It's like any number of impressive big snake miniatures.
I would use that in Pathfinder.
Yeah.
So we're overall for the main AOS release, really nice, really solid. Going to Underworlds. Who wants to take the lead on Underworlds? Vampires. We've come to suck your blood.
I think they might actually even be some lab vampires, so that might be appropriate.
From a gameplay standpoint, it's a 4-person warband, which, I'm hoping they hit pretty hard based on the smaller number of models. But, yeah, I really like these models. They're just really nice sculpts, and just, yes, more of this, please.
Yeah, I really like the sculpts. I was going through them and I went, these would also work perfectly well in the old world. I would say there is nothing about these that make me go, these are too AOS. I think you could put these in a old school Vampire Counts army and they would be fine. My initial thought was Mace Dude would be a great battle standard bearer. If you kind of just took the maze head off and extended that up, he would be a great battle standard bearer. Or just leave him with the sod off mace, because that is a really cool pose.
The other two are pretty much as they are great stands in for a good old vampire lord.
You could have either one of those as a vampire lord or a vampire count, and they would be fantastic. And then I do love Freaky Batty Dude. He would definitely be some kind of vampire thrall or something.
Oh yeah.
He is phenomenal. Yeah. No, I really like them. They are awesome. And I think I was reading somewhere that in the game they've actually got to kill models quite quickly, otherwise they start going hungry and you start losing control of them.
That would make sense for Underworlds, yeah. You guys remember when Age of Sigmar first dropped, and there were a lot of the kind of air quotes silly rules, like you have
if you had a fantastic moustache and you had Kurt Helberg, you got rerolls.
Yeah.
And I believe the other one was
Or
Marius.
loudly announcing the number 7 when
As a
whenever
Nurgle
you
player.
rolled it, if you were a Nurgle player. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. And the mad count, if you talked to the model, you had to actually talk to the model, you got a reroll.
Yes.
Yes. Underworlds has preserved a little of that silliness, or a little of that flavour, shall we say. It's got that element of fun to it, even though it's a really dark setting. I'll be interested to see how these guys play, because it's a fun, competitive, ridiculous game.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I always think Warhammer is always best, no matter what flavour of Warhammer. It's always best to play it not completely straight.
Yes.
Because all of the settings are inherently a little bit silly.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. You do have to. It's part of the reason that I play Skaven, like orcs and goblins coming up a close second, because at least on them the silliness is very near the top.
Yes.
Only slightly buried under, paranoia and murder. But yeah, you're right. Like, even if, oh god, reading like some of the older witch hunter novels, stuff like that, it's seriousness all the way through, and then the giant black death guard boots the chaos caster into an open grave, and it's hilarious. But yeah,
excellent.
You're right. There does need to. I think if it ever loses, what's the word, wackiness entirely, I think that'll be a sad.
I think
sad
that was
day.
a mistake. I think with 40k they did start going that way.
Yeah.
But then they've kind of brought it back a bit.
Well, the problem was for 40k, you could tell that, especially around the kind of midpoint, that they'd gone too serious, because the players started making their own fun. Hence, Abaddon the Armless. And everything like that. And if the players have to do that, then yeah, you're missing something.
Eldrad Ulthran is a dick. Is all I need to say there.
Right. So shall we move on to the final reveal?
Yeah.
And I honestly think this is the one I'm most excited for.
Mm-hmm.
Because I picked up all of Blackstone Fortress. I've not painted all of Blackstone Fortress, mostly because we started a campaign here in Reading, and then basically the world ended, so I've lost the motivation to paint the rest of the campaign bits. But I have the full Blackstone Fortress. But oh my god, this looks amazing! The Witch Hunter looks insane, and the what do they call him? The Gravekeeper, Gorslav the Grave.
Gorslav the Gravekeeper. Yeah.
Oh my god, that looks horrific in all the best ways.
Yes.
That looks like that's insane. That is brilliant.
Honestly, when I look at these, I just think this is a movie by Guillermo del Toro.
I've seen that comment come up a lot about both of these minis. I know a lot of people are talking about the Witch Hunter being converted into a 40k Witch Hunter. I completely see that would work perfectly for Ordo Hereticus. As someone who is planning to do a Cities of Sigmar army at some point, oh my god, I am including him.
Yes.
I've just noticed this. Has his gun got a wooden stake slung underneath it?
It's got an underslung stake launcher.
It has a stake launcher.
And those stakes are specifically from
I'm so happy.
So when they hit, they catch fire.
Burst into flame. Wonderful. Yeah. Double vampire weakness, all in one go.
Basically, yeah. So he's got that gun looks amazing, and then he's got a hammer, and he's got a broadsword, and he's got a ridiculous hat. I like ridiculous hats.
They've always had ridiculous hats, but yes, this one is especially wonderful.
Admittedly, the only Witch Hunter I do have is the bald one. But,
it's so wonderful that Gorslav had to strap what looks to be a broken toilet seat to his head in order to compete.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they're bones, but I'm not quite sure.
He's cosplaying the Gaunt Summoner from the Tzeentch army.
Yeah. And he's got a spade thing and bits of railing stuck out of him. He looks terrifying in all the best ways. This I'll be honest, this is now probably top of my things to buy in 2021. I mean that
Yeah.
list for actual Games Workshop releases was basically going to be Uriel Venris when he gets released, but
I'm not entirely certain why. But the thing that keeps coming to mind when I look at these two, for some damn reason, is Santa Claus versus Krampus.
I get it.
I get Krampus. I don't necessarily get Santa Claus, but if your version of Santa Claus is a big burly man who comes and shoots vampires,
Santa
I'm not
Claus
going to
makes me
disagree.
happy, and the Witch Hunter makes me happy.
I get that. That's fine. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's that. Oh, he's just so good. And we know we're getting
it's less
other.
about what they look like and more about the kind of tone of the
Yeah.
of the general movie.
But see, what you've made me do now is imagine painting the Witch Hunter in red. And I think that's a
Red and
very
white.
cool idea.
Red and white, yes.
I look forward to seeing him. Yeah, this will be getting bought.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping it comes out around my birthday because then birthday money can go towards this.
Yay.
I know I've not finished Blackstone Fortress. I've not painted Blackstone Fortress, and that's another board game to go on the shelf. But fuck, that's good. And we're getting some other characters to go with it. I think I saw there's going to be I've got the trailer running. I'm just trying to get to one particular point in the trailer. So the other heroes, there is a live-looking figure with antlers on it. Jesus Christ, it's bloody Rudolph to go with your Father Christmas. There is an elf. So he's going to be some kind of are they wanderers now in AOS?
Yeah.
Wood elves. So which is cool. Actually, it's something for an older army almost, which we haven't got much for wood elves for many years.
Yeah.
So them getting a new hero is cool. The next two I've got no idea on. I think the one on the left with the weird drill gun will be a dwarf of some description. It'll be interesting to see whether he is Ironweld Arsenal / dispossessed or Paragon. I'm wondering whether he might be dispossessed or Ironweld Arsenal rather than Paragon.
I imagine so, just based on the tone of everything.
Yeah.
Caratron are almost too wacky for the grimdark setting, if that makes sense.
I did almost think this might be a
I
reboot
don't think
of
that you
Mordheim.
can be too wacky for the grimdark setting.
No, but it's I don't think it's going to be a Caradron. It might be. It very well be. If I was going to put money on it, I'd say it's going to be an Ironweld Arsenal, some kind of cogsmith. I think that's the right name. What were dwarven engineers? And then the big lad, the one who's probably least interesting to me at the moment, just because he just looks like a big burly guy with a big old hammer.
He probably hits like a freight train, but that's his main thing, is that he's good in combat.
Weirdly, no wizard in this party.
Well, considering this little party includes a witch hunter, that's not too surprising.
Yeah, witch hunter, but you could have a witch hunter in old Warhammer Quest. It's just that.
No.
Classic.
The witch hunters, they're not like, they don't hate like properly trained wizards and stuff. They're not against the soldiers of magic, but most wizards do kind of avoid them because, well, the witch hunters are very aware that a demon could force its way into their head at any given moment. And that might require a swift bullet to the noggin.
I did also read somewhere, but actually a lot of witch hunting parties often include a wizard because their wizards tend to be quite useful at fighting other wizards as a rule.
That would make sense.
And if you go for a bright wizard, you've got someone to light the pyre when you caught them. Save yourself some matches. So yeah, I am super happy with this. They look like they're going full gothic horror with this, and I just want to see what other models they've got in there. I'm kind of hoping for werewolves. I don't know why. Just that was one of the things. I hope we get some werewolves, or whatever they decide to call fantasy.
The skinwalkers or something.
Yeah, I think there were some skinwalkers in the old World / Total War 2. Let's just see if there's anything new on the website. Okay, we've got some creepy dudes in blood. Okay, right. So there are So there's Agents of Defiance and Overlords of Urfel. There are six. There are going to be 6 characters and 5 boss characters by the looks of things. Oh, hang on. Oh no, it's just wrapping around. Right, based on the silhouette, one of them will be a Stormcast.
That would make sense based on...
If you go onto the website, that is a very Stormcast pose. So I'm expecting a Stormcast. And then we've got the Gravedigger, some form of skeleton. It'll be interesting to see what this comes out on. A nice map of the city. Oh, that looks very good. Oh, and I like the heraldry. Probably worth taking a look at the Cursed City page. There is some cool bits and pieces. Well up for that. Looking forward to that appearing. We will do an episode on that when we know more.
Hopefully, maybe even with a battle report.
That would be cool. Hopefully, as long as Boris lets... Well, no, as long as the Corona lets us out. Awesome. Yeah. So, closing thoughts on the Dead and the Divine preview.
Really good. Like, this has probably been the best one, and this includes the one that, we saw the new Sigvald the Magnificent model in. This has just been high-quality miniatures throughout, and they've really hit it out the park.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a single, I'd say that the closest to a meh was Kill Team. Just it's all models we'd seen before, but it was nice to get something for Kill Team. Overall, I think this was the best preview they've done by a considerable margin.
Yeah.
No Space Marines though, so I should probably mark them down for lack of Space Marine Lieutenant. So I should probably mark them down for that. It's been years since we've had. Oh no, we had Weird New Ones last year. We did have a new Lieutenant last year.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with either of you guys really. It's good all round. I am pleased.
Yeah, more of that, please.
Good start for
keep
2021. It will be nice to see what we get going forward. Right, so that is the Dead and the Divine. I hope you've enjoyed our name ramblings on it. We're going to try and keep the progress going this year and get some more episodes out. The next episode we're planning to do will be me talking about 3D printers, because whilst I've not got many successful prints of mine, I have thoughts about their impact on the hobby, but I will keep my powder dry for that. Anything anyone would like to plug?
I've been reading a fifth edition Cyberpunk mod called Carbon 2185 that's worth checking out. They just had a successful Kickstarter for an expansion. Go check them out. It's basically your default Cyberpunk setting, but with enough to play it in 5th edition, which I will be roping you guys into at some point.
Nice. There is actually one, they are on Facebook, there is one people I would like to plug, which is the Deathly Dark Tours. Now, I came across the guy who runs it years ago, because I used to work with someone he worked with. They did a live ghost hunt round York. I am from that fair city, and it is reportedly the most haunted city in England. Which, considering England is the most haunted country in the world, it's certainly up there. We have so many ghosts, and you kind of think you know all of them, but there was a couple of stories there. It's like, I didn't actually know that one. He's quite good. He's a very good tour guide. He also did a series on YouTube called I Am Tim. Very silly, but very good. So yeah, Deathly Dark Tours. They're doing one the Great Edinburgh Ghost Hunt online. They did it through Facebook Live. Well worth watching and going and seeing them. That's the only one I really want to plug. Besides that, thank you very much for listening. If you want to kick us a couple of pennies on Patreon, the link will be in the doobly-doo, as well as links to all our various social media stuff and the other shows on Tinker Tailor Soldier Sponge. That's good night from me.
Good night.
Good night.
Night, Callum.
Join Mike and Tom for nerdy conversation with a multitude of guests on Hat of Many Things.
Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello. I'm Mark, a librarian and professional wrestling ring announcer.
Cast League of Legends.
Soteros Filbrucato, best known for my work with White Wolf and Onyx Path Publishing on the World of Darkness.
Hi, I'm Jason Carl. I'm the producer of V5 at White Wolf.
Yeah, my name is Johanna Pettersson, I'm a Finnish game designer.